Hakuna Matata, bitches. My name is Matt. Welcome to the Sin Bin, and I just wanted to make a video regarding the Patrik Laine situation and kind of giving you guys sort of an update. So if you guys have been following my channel for an amount of time, you've seen that I've made a Patrik Laine video about a week ago. If you haven't been following my channel, please like and subscribe. But what I said in that video is that the Canadiens have pretty much been linked to Patrik Laine, and I gave my thoughts of whether I'd like to see him in a Montreal Canadiens uniform. Go check out that video, it's great. But just to give a little summary here, I said that depending on the price, if it's a trade, or depending on the salary, if it's an offer sheet, I wouldn't mind seeing Patrik Laine in a Montreal jersey. But just be aware, he does have some downsides, whether it be defensive deficiencies, whether it be inconsistencies, he has some downsides. So that was what I thought about that previous video. Now, it seems like a few weeks later, we have an update regarding the Patrik Laine situation. And I found this article, it's on Go Habs Go. So again, the Canadiens have been really linked with Patrik, and I'm going to go through it, read the information, and then kind of give my opinion on what I think about it. So let's just dive into it. Laine doesn't seem to have any interest in what the Jets have to offer at the moment. It seems the Jets are lowballing Laine. There's reports that the former 44-goal scorer is ready to move on from Winnipeg, and an offer sheet could be one way to do it. So let me just stop there. It seems like Marc Bergevin and the Habs management, they just seem destined to go after a restricted free agent. Whether it be through an offer sheet or a trade, again, it doesn't really matter. It looks like Marc Bergevin is an angry dog, and his stake is a restricted free agent. So in what I just read, they say that the Jets seem to be lowballing Patrik Laine. What does that mean? They don't refer to any dollar amount. They don't specify that. But from what I'm guessing, and again, this isn't factual, this is just me guessing, I would believe that the Patrik Laine camp wants between 9.5 and 10.5 million for 5 years. Again, that's just me speculating. That seems to be what Patrik Laine wants. The Jets seem to have a different mindset. Maybe, after his really disappointing year, and that's being kind. It wasn't just a disappointing year. It was an atrocious year. Patrik Laine played horrible. And I know he got 30 goals and yada, yada, yada. But for Patrik Laine, we're just expecting more. And his consistency was caca. We're just expecting more when it comes to Patrik Laine, and it appears like the Jets are lowballing him. Let's move on here. There's reports that the former 44-goal scorer is ready to move on from Winnipeg, and an offer sheet could be one way to do it. Elliotte Friedman talked about Laine on his latest 31 Thoughts podcast and the possible beef between the two sides. Listen closely to this, guys. It's actually pretty interesting. Well, Laine as a whole is a big discussion because he is one of the guys who seems to want a short bridge deal out of all of these guys. He didn't leave happy last year. Some of that was his own fault. He wasn't as good as he can be. I think he chafed under some of the leadership there. The guys at the top of that food chain are hard-driving guys. They expect you to buy into the program. I think that they felt he did not buy in enough, and I think that he felt that some of the things that they wanted were ridiculous. So you gotta bridge that too. Wow. So this is something I actually didn't know about Patrik Laine. I thought that all of his problems, all of his deficiencies rested on his on-ice play. Now, according to what Elliotte Friedman is dropping here, and it's a bomb, it seems that there might be some tension off the ice and behind the scenes in the locker room. It seems that Laine isn't meshing with the Winnipeg Jets leadership group. Now, when they say that, again, they don't specify any guys, but you gotta imagine the captain Blake Wheeler is one of them. You gotta imagine Mark Scheifele is one of them. They must have a certain expectation for some of the players. They're two really hardworking guys, Scheifele and Wheeler. And being captain, and I'm assuming that Scheifele's alternate captain, they have expectations. When it came to Laine last season, many games he didn't fulfill those expectations. There are many games where his legs weren't moving. There are many games where he wasn't trying. And actually, one thing that I did research about Laine over the weeks, I learned that he's actually a pretty fast player. The problem is, I wouldn't know that the way he's playing. He's not moving his feet, he's not trying. So it gave off the illusion that he's slow, when in reality, he's just not working hard. So there you go. As Elliotte Friedman puts it, there's a little bit of chafing between Laine and the management and the leadership group of the Winnipeg Jets. So keep that in mind, Canadiens fans. All the Canadiens fans out there who say, I want Patrik Laine. Just keep this little paragraph from Elliotte Friedman in mind. Because who are the leadership groups on the Canadiens? We got Gallagher, we got Weber, we got Max Domi. If he's not listening to Blake Wheeler and Scheifele, and if he's souring under Wheeler and Scheifele, what's to say he's going to come to Montreal and just be a whole new person? You know, once a bad apple, always a bad apple. We've seen it sort of a little bit with Jonathan Drouin. He was soured with the Tampa Bay leadership group. He's come to Montreal. He's not a totally different player. He's still the good old Jonathan Drouin. And I still hope that in the following years he improves. But that's another video for another time. Let's stick to Patrik Laine here. So those are my thoughts. Before moving on to my next video I wanted to show, I just wanted to touch upon the offer sheet versus the trade route. If the Canadiens were to go after Patrik Laine, and again I'm reiterating myself, that's not necessarily something I don't want to see. I think that for the right price or the right salary, Patrik Laine could be a fit in Montreal. If they were to do it, I think that the good route would be through a trade. This is just me, but it seems like when GMs do offer sheets, it seems to sour all of the other GMs in the league. We saw it with the Philadelphia GM that one year when he offer sheeted Shea Weber, of all people. It seemed like the other GMs in the league just soured towards, I think his name was Holmstrom, the Flyers GM. So, I mean, Mark Bergevin did it once. I liked the effort with Aho. I liked the intentions. It didn't work out. Maybe this time a trade would be more feasible. And just to give out names out there, for me, I'm not speaking about what the Winnipeg Jets want. I'm saying for me, I would be ready to give up Suzuki, hypothetically speaking, Suzuki, Juleson, a first and a second, for Patrik Laine and scraps. I think that for me, if the Winnipeg Jets come and say, we want Suzuki, and we want Juleson, and we want a first, I jump on that. If they want Cole Caulfield, I'm not going near Patrik Laine. If they want Romanov, I don't think I'm going near Patrik Laine. I'd have to think hard. If they want Paling, I'd have to think hard. I really would. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Now, I want to move on to the video. This is a video by Sportsnet where there's actual experts. Obviously, I'm no expert myself. These expert thoughts about the situation. Let's hear what they have to say.
Should be making and what the Leafs think he should be making. The guy who's the most interesting to me is Patrik Laine, and haven't really heard anything for a while. How do you think that's going to end? Because I'm not convinced it's going to end with him as a Jet.
I think it will. I think, you know, that's one of those situations where I would expect there to have been a lot more smoke than there's been if there was a situation in which he wasn't. He was going to be at loggerheads with them, and they would have to move him at some point. I mean, the Jets right now, I think, have to do everything in their power to ensure that he's going to be there in the next few years, just because of a slight downtick, I think, in quality of their blue line, and maybe the thought that if anything, they might have to take a step back before moving forward. I expect he'll still be there, but nothing shocking, and maybe the lack of news is more indicative of the market than anything else.
Greg Wyshynski is a senior hockey writer for ESPN. He's with us on Sportsnet today, Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
We were talking about teams, you know, how are we going to be able to keep the great young players that we draft?
So that's pretty much the extent of it. If you guys want to watch the full video, you can go on Sportsnet. But just to reiterate my thoughts, up till this point, I thought it was a question of Patrik Laine wants this much, the Winnipeg Jets are only willing to give this much. It seems like it's much more deeper than that. It goes in the locker room. So it'll be fun to see how it plays out. I hope you guys like this video if you've made it all the way to the end. If you didn't, then oh well, I'm sorry. please like, please subscribe. More videos to come. I'll be dropping my top 10 left wingers in the NHL probably after this video this evening. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And as always, keep your stick on the ice.